What happens when two of the most iconic Marvel heroes team up? Yeah, teaming up seems to be a stretch so far, but with the debut of the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, audiences are getting a better grasp of how Marvel Studios is finally experimenting with their formula. Even then, is this enough? Will Deadpool and Wolverine be the film to turn the tide against the rising superhero fatigue claims? Will Deadpool and Wolverine save the MCU? Hi, I'm your host Rob, and on this episode of Atomic Vision, we'll uncover how this silly R-rated buddy comedy might be exactly what the MCU needs to get itself back on track. And to help me, today's special guest is Barakapool. Some legends never die. I am a massive Marvel fanboy, but like I mentioned in my Disney video, Marvel Studios is having a bit of a midlife crisis right now. With the pandemic torpedoing the company alongside the constant shakeups with Disney's leadership and the ever-growing problems with Disney+, Marvel's kind of lost at the moment. With Feige spread too thin between an ocean of content, Marvel's quality has dipped in some places. But like I said before, I'm a Marvel fanboy, so even with all of these problems, I think some of them are overblown, because what I think is hurting Marvel the most has nothing to do with all the complaints most YouTubers are spouting for hate clicks. Marvel has an emotional story problem, and I think Deadpool and Wolverine are here to save the studio from the recent turmoil. Deadpool was a movie that was never supposed to exist, but thanks to a loyal fan base and a murder mystery-esque trailer leak, Marvel fans willed this film into existence. And the result was a dream come true. Deadpool came out at the right place and right time. Wait, that came out wrong. Shh, I did it again.
I'm touching myself tonight.
And with Deadpool 2, Ryan Reynolds gained a bit more control from Fox and was able to grace us with even more X-Men characters like Cable, Domino, and of course, a comic-accurate Juggernaut.
I'm gonna melt you down and make us ring.
Meanwhile, Wolverine has had an insane journey getting here. Originally the lead of the X-Men film franchise, he got 3 solo films where the first was
Perfect.
and the other 2 slowly leaned into the edginess fans were asking for. Logan is considered the crown jewel of comic book movies by many, having earned itself an Oscar nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. But sadly, these 2 iconic characters never truly met in a way fans were anticipating, until now. With Disney having bought Fox in 2019, Deadpool was the first character announced to be joining the MCU proper, and fans everywhere were celebrating because the Marvel family was slowly being reunited after all these years. The question then turned into, well, will Disney let Deadpool stay R-rated? Despite telling fans to relax, everyone was skeptical Disney was going to keep their word, and as you already know, the MCU is a bit of a mess lately. But with the second trailer to Deadpool and Wolverine released, we're getting a better idea of what this movie is really about, and all of my fears are being put to rest. Regardless of Marvel's CGI problems, delayed sequel issues, and even its controversial choices behind the scenes, Marvel Studios' biggest problem right now is that they forgot how to tell emotional stories that make you care about these characters. Deadpool and Wolverine is definitely an Easter egg-filled, fourth wall-breaking cameo fest. But in order to deliver on these rewards, the movie needs to earn them by delivering an emotional story that audiences care about first. And with this latest trailer, I am so happy that Ryan Reynolds and company are doing exactly that. Ignoring all the cool Easter egg stuff for the moment, what is getting me hyped about this movie is how it is fully leaning into Wolverine's emotional struggle and how it'll tie into his motivation for the film. In the trailer, it is heavily implied Wolverine got all the X-Men killed and we don't know how or why. All we know is that all of this guilt is killing Logan and the multiverse is holding him responsible for it.
This Wolverine let down his entire world.
This right here is the golden ticket to winning audiences back from the superhero fatigue arguments. As much as I am a defender of the Marvels, that movie suffers from the exact same problem that this video is all about. The Marvels doesn't give the audience an emotional reason to care about anything that is going on in that film. Yes, we learned that Carol is responsible for destroying the Kree's son and that the guilt is haunting her, but that's not enough of an emotional hook for audiences to really care. As for Monica and Kamala, they get practically nothing to work with, which is a shame since Kamala's carrying this film on her back.
Twinsies. Okay. Hey, all right.
It's still a fun watch, but its lack of depth killed the movie. As for Quantumania, this is the biggest culprit of them all. To this day, I still don't understand how Marvel screwed it up this badly, because they were so close to making a great film. The movie was so preoccupied with Kang, it forgot to give Scott Lang, the main character, an emotional reason to be saving the day. The trailers leading up to the film tricked audiences into thinking it was about Scott making a deal with Kang to get the time back he lost with his daughter. But in reality, it wasn't about that at all. To this day, this is one of the dumbest moves by Marvel, as the film's actual story gives you zero reasons to care about anything going on in the quantum realm. But you're here for Deadpool, and besides the crass humor, fourth wall breaking jokes, or even his craving for blow,
wanna do some cocaine?
Hey, cocaine is the one thing that Feige said is off limits.
What about Bolivian marching powder?
They know all the slang terms. They have a list.
Even snowboarding?
Even disco dust.
White girl interrupter?
Even force bump.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes, but I can't.
Deadpool has always put emotional stakes first and comedy second. Deadpool 1 is a genuine love story between Wade and Vanessa, mixed in with a cancer storyline that is not played for laughs. The film respects the audience by building these characters' relationship in a way that feels authentic, and the payoff isn't some world-ending adventure, but a guy just trying to get the love of his life back. Deadpool 2 is even more emotional, albeit it fridges Vanessa in the name of character motivation, but the secondary storyline is equally character-driven. Deadpool, after losing his love, still craves the desire to be a caring father figure to a child, and in this case, it's a mutant fugitive on the verge of villainy. The entire film is centered around Wade trying to find a reason to live now that his partner is gone, and again, even though it is cheap here, it works because of how sincere the performances and dialogue are. Even before the Disney acquisition, Deadpool and Wolverine was always envisioned as a road trip comedy by Ryan Reynolds. And now that the movie is finally arriving, it brings me a lot of happiness knowing that the emotional stakes for Deadpool are still here. In this newest film, after time traveling to save Vanessa and his whole family from death, Deadpool is now a retired hero turned car salesman. Rather than fighting bad guys every day, he sells cars and makes money without putting a target on his family's back. But thanks to the same time traveling shenanigans that saved his family, it may very well be the reason they all will die again thanks to the TVA. Deadpool and Wolverine, barring its crazy cameos that haven't been fully revealed, is about confronting your failures and owning up to them even if it means losing everything again. And this is what the MCU has been missing lately. People don't just love quips, Easter eggs, or cheesy end credit scenes promising a sequel or spin-off. People love the MCU because they love the characters. This is what has always separated Marvel from DC in the first place. DC was always about taking your average hero and turning them into a god, while Marvel was always about turning your god into a hero you can relate to. And the MCU has forgotten that. Throughout this journey, it's become obvious to me that Wade and Logan will be going through a planes, trains, and automobiles type storyline, where Wolverine is Steve Martin and Deadpool is John Candy. This alone has me hyped, as there is so much room for growth, character arcs, and emotional depth that the MCU has been lacking these last few years. I am so excited for Deadpool and Wolverine later this year, and much like Deadpool and Wolverine, maybe Marvel will confess to their mistakes and move on too. This is the MCU's redemption arc. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Atomic Vision, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.
Wait, is that you?
Look, eventually, you're gonna hang up the claws, and it's gonna make a lot of people very sad.
Huh?
But one day, your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again. When he does, say yes.
Oh, right.
Love you.
I think I'm in the right place.